everybody. I think it's time to kick off. Welcome to today's Expert Talk Online. My name is Julia Hanley. I'm an engagement manager at Equal Experts in London. I'm currently working with HMRC, who is our tax man here, and HMPO, which is the passport office. In today's talk, we're going to learn about EDI and what it is, how best to structure and equip an EDI team with cross-functional skills so that operation engineers can take on developer mindsets, practicing you build it, you run it principles. Wayfair now recognizes their operation engineers as functional and technical SMEs. We'll find out how putting empathy at the heart of engineering has made this happen and what they've learned along the way. I'm going to introduce our two speakers for today. The first is Michaela Madden, who is the EDI product manager at Wayfair. She's been working in the EDI space for 7 years. When Michaela first joined Wayfair, she started on the supply chain integrations team, working directly with suppliers to integrate via EDI until moving over to the EDI engineering team to get a more hands-on experience with the tech side. She has since moved to the role of EDI engineering product manager, where she's been managing the roadmap and helping balance the team's workload for new system build out with the existing operational responsibilities. She's also joined today by Tommy Hinrichs. Tommy is a technical principal and account anchor here at Equal Experts. He has over 21 years experience in all areas of software development lifecycle. He's an expert in software management. He's an expert in software management, engineering and architecture, and event-driven distributed systems. He specializes in web and desktop applications, applying agile and lean processes. Tommy excels at guiding architecture according to business value, evolving systems and teams, one thin vertical slice at a time. We're planning on taking some audience questions at the end of this conversation. So please start adding your questions using the Zoom Q&A function you can see at the bottom of your screen. So without further ado, please join me in welcoming Michaela and Tommy.
Hi, everyone.
Hey, everyone.
Let me just. Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Michaela, and I'm here with Tommy, as Julia just mentioned. We'd like to share with you how we've transformed a key Wayfair delivery team with our in-team operations engineers transitioning into developer roles. Know that we've all heard about developers moving into operational roles, but we're going in the opposite direction in our corner of Wayfair, and we think it's important to share such stories with the community. My name is Michaela Madden. I'm originally from Southern Vermont, but I'm currently based in Boston, Massachusetts. I'm the Electronic Data Interchange, EDI product manager at Wayfair. And as previously mentioned, I've been working in this space for around 7 years. And 2 years ago, I moved from the role of an EDI operations engineer to the role of an EDI engineering product manager, where I've been managing the roadmap and helping the team to balance our new system build out with existing operational responsibilities.
My name's Tommy Hinrichs. I'm from Idaho, and I'm a tech principal with Equal Experts. We're a global software consultancy of over 3,000 expert practitioners, and we help enterprise organizations achieve long-term innovation. And our North America office would like to hear from you. My email will be in the last slide. You can just ping me. I've got over 20 years experience in all areas of the SDLC, and I'm a man of a certain age by the use of the term SDLC, which probably no one's heard since 2002.
Wayfair is an e-commerce platform exclusively focused on the home. We offer our 24 million customers a first-class experience by unifying customer service, shopping experience, fulfillment, and supplier services. We partner with our 23,000 suppliers through a third-party seller model to ensure marketplace success for each vendor. We deliberately have a broad supplier base, and no one supplier is more than 2% of our revenue. We've got around 3,000 engineers creating purpose-built technology, which powers everything that we do for our customers. One of the ways that our suppliers can integrate with Wayfair is through Electronic Data Interchange, known as EDI, to exchange documents and transfer information between around 12 different systems spread across different domains. Our long-standing EDI team is responsible for creating, maintaining, and troubleshooting two different things. The first being the EDI pipelines that all of our teams rely upon, such as sending purchase orders, translating inventory, and more. And the second being the EDI documents and non-EDI file exchanges, such as CSV, XML, JSON, etc., that our product and engineering teams use for carrier and supplier interactions. On this slide, you'll see there's an example overview for a purchase order workflow, from inventory to purchase orders to carrier tracking updates. There are multiple transactions between multiple systems, all underpinned by EDI messaging. We've got plenty of workflows like this, and more than 50% of all Wayfair order volume relies upon EDI messaging. So having a stable system is extremely important. So for over 15 years, our EDI messaging was driven by a single commercial off-the-shelf, or COTS, as you'll hear us mention throughout the presentation, monolith. The monolith was responsible for handling all carrier and supplier domain EDI transactions for both inbound and outbound traffic over SFTP and AS2 connections. It was managed by a small but highly experienced operations team that, over time, became subject matter experts in the different supplier and carrier domain spaces. In the team view of this slide, you'll see that at the end of 2021, we had a product manager, that's me, an engineering manager, and 3 operations engineers with 6 to 20 plus years of domain experience. We also added 3 equal experts developers to the team to guide our operations engineers over the course of our new platform build. The COTS monolith manages EDI messaging between supplier domains, like large appliances, and carrier domains, like ocean and drayage, who ship containers across the world for us. But despite our team's best efforts, we did face some significant problems. We couldn't improve our COTS reliability and performance, even after a lift and shift into GCP. Our yearly audits were getting harder to manage as we scaled due to the manual nature of tracking all of our changes. We really couldn't continue to staff the team with more and more SMEs, or subject matter experts. As Wayfair grows and the need for EDI integrations expands into new domains, it becomes really difficult to staff the team with people who know or will learn all of the ins and outs of every single space. And finally, we really couldn't keep up with the carrier domain teams wanting us to create or to make more updates to their EDI messaging formats, because we were busy babysitting the monolith, which had already reduced the team's capacity to handle updates or net new builds outside of our assigned supplier domain. We'd put off the decision in previous years, but in 2021, we felt confident that we could build a next generation EDI platform ourselves. Wayfair has partnered with Equal Experts for a while now, and we brought some Equal Experts folks into the EDI team, including Tommy, to help us on the journey.
Our plan was to build a cloud-native platform and foster a microservices ecosystem This meant our operations engineers had to transition from supporting a COTS monolith, very database-centric, architected 20 years ago, to building and running their own microservices. It's quite a challenge. We had 3 equal experts developers paired with 3 Wayfair operations engineers.
So you'll notice that the team view has changed a bit from the previous slide. And that's because in 2022, the team changed even more. 2 of our operations engineers are now Wayfair developers in training. A new Wayfair developer heard about what we were building and asked to join up. And we're now down to 2 EE developers. In the past year, we've built our EDI microservices ecosystem. We call it the Supplier Data Translation Platform, or SDT for short. We're starting to cut over to SDT from our COTS monolith, and we're in a strong position to take things forward. Our operations engineers are transitioning into developer roles, and they're building and running EDI microservices for themselves. They're now able to take on tasks like debugging, implementing fixes, and writing tests with limited or no assistance from EE developers.
Another change you'll notice from the previous slide is the messaging ownership in the carrier domain. It's moved from 0% to 50%. That's because we're empowering our carrier domain teams across Wayfair to create, maintain, and troubleshoot their own EDI messaging by transferring over ownership of EDI document translation for the document types that are only leveraged by the carrier domain. Now those teams don't have to wait for the EDI team to prioritize their work against a limited central capacity, and the EDI team can focus its expertise on making the best possible version of the SDT platform for the supplier domain specifically.
Looking to the future team structure, we'll have a team with 1 engineering manager, 1 product manager, 1 operations engineer, and 3 Wayfair developers. The EE developers will move on to other Wayfair challenges. So see you later, Tommy. Our goal is to move all of the carrier domain messaging off of the monolith and out of the EDI team's work scope, so that the team is no longer responsible for being subject matter experts across all domains within Wayfair. Over the next couple of years, we're also going to scale the SDT platform up and out. We'll incrementally migrate live traffic to our EDI microservices until all traffic is on the SDT platform. And once that's completed, we can decommission the COTS monolith. This will give us an estimated cost savings of around $400,000 a year in monolith run costs. Elsewhere, we've already implemented some compliance as code, and we'll double down on that. Our team has to satisfy the SOX compliance framework because of the financial impact of EDI documents passing through Wayfair systems. We're moving towards automated auditing of all of our messaging and documentation translation code, which will save us a lot of time during audits.
We're also hoping to foster a community of operations engineers across Wayfair who might be thinking about a move from an operations engineering role into a developer role. Wayfair needs more developers, as does everyone, and the developer market is really tough right now. And the in-house operations engineers already have so much domain expertise. With the work and training that the team is doing now, there'll be more skills liquidity and more opportunities for our staff members.
So how have we come so far in only a year? Here are 4 practices that have worked well for us. Empathy for everyone. Staying on track by clearly outlining responsibilities. Minimizing cognitive load. And learning by doing. Empathy is super important to us. the EDI team is going through a huge change. The COTS monolith that people have spent blood, sweat, and many tears on is being replaced. And our operations engineers who've done their jobs for years have learned that the way that they contribute to Wayfair is fundamentally changing. We want to be sure that we listen to each other's perspectives, understand different points of view, and work with each individual's strengths, aptitudes, and interests. We also set out ways of working that emphasized shared learning to help operations engineers understand development skills and to help developers understand operational skills.
We make it as easy as possible to understand and operate our microservices ecosystem. We're very aware it's a whole new ballgame for our operations engineers. When we design our microservices, we think about observability upfront and how we can make EDI messaging between the live microservices easy to understand at a glance. We also think about operations upfront, thanks to the influence of the operations engineers on the team. We try to ensure our microservices are easy to reliably operate. For example, we've created a custom API for observing document flow in real time by leveraging standard Wayfair tooling and creating custom monitoring on top of it.
We, of course, had to balance existing responsibilities with the new system build out too. We had work that had to be done in the legacy COTS monolith that we were committed to completing before the end of 2022. Because of this, we created one combined roadmap for the monolith and new microservices work. And team members alternated between working on the two systems when they started new tasks. In the roadmap, we planned for less capacity for monolith changes. Stakeholder management was tricky, and it continues to be, as they've had to live with fewer EDI changes for about a year while we've built out the microservices from scratch.
In the long run, we want to hand responsibility for EDI carrier domain messaging off to the carrier domain teams. When we started that effort, we had to set clear expectations with our consumers that any net new messaging work would be given a lower priority than our planned infrastructure work and our new system build out, and the transfer of EDI messaging domain ownership into the right teams that naturally should own that domain space. Over time, this has actually helped our consumers to prioritize their EDI work because less central capacity was made available to them. Of course, there are deployment problems and live traffic issues with the COTS monolith at times, which caused a delay in planned work and sometimes required an all-hands-on-deck recovery process. For these reasons, we had to be sure there was time allotted to keep the current system up and stable.
Keeping the team's cognitive load front of mind is a natural add-on from empathy. If we've got too much work crammed into our heads, then we really can't focus on cross-skilling as well as delivery. We're big on preventing overload for our team members, or at least trying to. It's still a learning curve. And one of the ways that we do that is to assign them as a project lead, rather than spreading their time across multiple efforts. They design, build, and run the deliverables without having to balance multiple projects at once in an effort to prevent overloading them. We have a number of ways to minimize context switching too. By limiting the work that needs to be built out in both systems simultaneously, we're minimizing the back and forth for each team member so that they aren't overloaded and they don't have to worry about context switching too frequently.
One way to keep cognitive load low is to leverage experience. We've deliberately matched the current domain knowledge of our operations engineers to the same domains in the new microservices. They don't work exclusively in those domains. There's not enough people for that, but it's the bulk of their work. It smooths out the learning curve for everyone and makes the migration efforts much easier. And we haven't had to build every tiny bit of the SDT platform ourselves. We purchased a GUI-based EDI transformation definition application by Altova that generates Java code and a message validator and licenses for the EDI X12 standard. This was all super exciting for us because it saved us a lot of coding effort.
The most effective cross-skilling method that we found is to learn on the job. Each of our Wayfair operations engineers has worked on the microservices build-out alongside developers from equal experts. We also like to share. Our operations engineers share their domain expertise, so developers can learn more about the different business domains underpinned by EDI messaging. Our developers share their technology experiences, so operations engineers can avoid some of the gotchas and come up to speed a lot faster. At first, this happened in dedicated training sessions, but later on, it naturally became part of every story kickoff.
We do a lot of long-lived pair programming. An operations engineer and a software engineer will work together for months at a time. They design, code, and implement features together, and then talk through the impact of that architecture and design in detail. It's a really effective way for developers to digest the business domain and for operations engineers to learn more about architecture and technology trade-offs. And all of our collaboration is feedback first, meaning we go as fast or as slow as our operations engineers need. First, we shadow with an operations engineer watching the developer implement a task, a story, while the developer explains why they're doing what they're doing. Then we build up to driver-navigator pairing, where the operations engineer is doing the work and the developer steering their direction. Then we move on to ping pong pairing, where both people take turns running the pair. The whole idea is to bring people on a journey at a pace they're comfortable with for a medium to long term.
But we still need your help. We don't have all the answers, though hopefully until I just explicitly stated that, you thought otherwise. We'd like your help in tackling some questions that we've got, so feel free to ask any questions, provide comments, or feedback in the chat. As a product manager, I'd definitely love some feedback on how other people have balanced stakeholder needs and wants in these types of situations, especially when they've realized that while your platform is a great step forward, it probably won't be the answer to all of their problems. Has anyone here faced that problem before?
We'd also like to hear how other people are balancing engineer time between a legacy monolith and a new system build-out. Our team members were sometimes limited in the time they could dedicate to the new system because of large high priority projects that needed to be built on the legacy monolith and couldn't be deprioritized. At times, some of our team members felt like they were being left behind because they had to work in the monolith for an extended period of time. And if anyone has ideas on that, help me out. And we can compare notes during the Q&A. And if something comes up after that, just send me a message. My email's on the last slide.
So we've also got some takeaways for you too. Empathy is the foundation for transitioning operations engineers into developer roles and building an easy to operate system. A COTS monolith may only take you so far. If your business keeps growing and evolving, eventually you'll reach its change and reliability limits, and it can be frustrating. You can build around it, but that still might only take you so far. And finally, your operations team might contain the functional and technical subject matter experts you've been looking for. Look to them for guidance first. And thank you everyone for coming. Please be sure to let us know if you have any questions or feedback. And as Tommy mentioned, both of our emails are listed here if something comes up afterwards.
And I'd like to just thank Tommy and Michaela for doing this and everybody else for joining and all. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everybody.